Welcome to Wholistic Hearts, a place to dive deeper into living holistically, a place where my mom shares thoughts on living fully, creating intentionally, and empowering others to come along with her in this journey.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Wholistic Hearts. I am doing a quick intro before the start of the show because I think it's really important that I lay some foundation. Today's episode is a bonus episode, partially because I felt like I really wanted it to fit in well with the themes of Wholistic Hearts. And if you've been listening, you know the first few months that we talked about wholehearted living and what that looks like. And these next 3 months, we have been talking about pursuing connection, whether that's pursuing connection with yourself, whether it's pursuing connection with God, or pursuing connection with others. And so I wanted to plop this episode. It was pre-recorded right in this spot. I wanted to put it in this little spot because I feel like this is an important conversation and a big portion of my heart. And I haven't shared too much about it. So I am bringing you in to part of my own healing journey, which has been through the process of raising kiddos. And in one sweet kiddo, through various diagnoses and trials. And so much of my story of healing has been because I have seen my own wounded heart in the darkest seasons of parenting. Not only has mothering my son through these trials shown me this desperate need I have for Jesus, but it's also formed me into who I am today. And I would not be where I am today without this opportunity to grow as a mama. And there's a portion of me that I want to honor my son and his journey. I know he's still growing. And I want him, if he ever listens to this, to feel the honor and respect that is needed. So he is one of the bravest kids I know. He's the most compassionate, kind, loving, tender, gentle giant. And we've walked through a lot spiritually, emotionally, and physically. And we've walked into many doctors' offices. We've walked and experienced many different therapists. And as you know, I love holistic health. And so he has really been a trooper in, as a 12-year-old kid having to say no to the typical 12-year-old American diet. It's tough. So we've researched so many things. We've tried many things. And finally this year, we have been able to diagnose possibly what is going on with him, which is called PANS or PANDAS. And we are in the middle of that diagnosis. So that is incredible. And that is years of praying for an answer. So we are under an incredible team in our state, and there's so much healing already being done. And the biggest takeaways of this journey with a high needs kid is lean into who God is for you in the midst. Lean into the way God is healing your own heart and refining you with a gentle love. This walk with him and with myself and with the Father particularly allowed me to step into facing grief, facing pain and sorrow and connecting to a place in my heart that I don't know if I would have gotten there without it. And to be able to connect with Jesus on a whole different level. So I invite you today to join me, whether you are a mom who has high needs or special needs, or you have just one kiddo that is neurotypical. This is a show for you to step in and know that you are not alone. God meets us in the thickest and those darkest places. He grieves with you, and he cries with you, and he is with you. So lean in, my friend, take care of your heart, take care of yourself, and know that he is with you. So this episode is about self-care in mothering special needs or high needs kiddos. So take this, tuck it in your back pocket as you listen. I hope it encourages you. You are not alone. And yeah, I'm excited for you to meet my good friend now. Her name is Janelle Springer. Here we go. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Wholistic Hearts. I am excited today to bring on a friend I just met on Facebook. It's the world of Facebook and networking and all of these things is such a gift. And it is someone who I really wanted to hit on this subject of mothering and our whole hearts and taking care of our whole hearts. And something stuck out to me when I read part of her comment on a thread. And so anyway, this is Janelle Springer, and welcome.
Thank you. Good to chat with you, Kristen.
Oh, it's so fun. Like I said, I love the networking of Facebook, and I mean, there's so many awful things that people could say about Facebook, but that is like such a gift because I know for me, finding another mother who is very in a similar situation, who has fought hard for their kiddo, and being able to ask you to come on to Wholistic Hearts and share your story, because I think people need to hear your story. So welcome again. And I would love for you to just share what you had shared with me of your journey as a mom.
Sure. Well, thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Yeah.
And I hope that it encourages someone that's maybe going through something similar. And it's really, I've learned with the way God works is that he gives us glimpses in the rearview mirror of how he worked through those situations. And I wouldn't have it any other way, even though it was hard.
Mm-hmm.
So I was sharing with you how my youngest son has struggled a lot over the years with his ADHD.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, if you leave ADHD untreated, it gets worse. And then you get into the defiance, and it creates a lot of chaos in the family, and just it can really hurt your marriage and hurt the structure of your family dynamics. And so we had just struggled for a few years with school and at home with attitudes and that defiance. And we had tried several different things. And then we just said, you know what, we need to do the medication, because we just didn't have any other options at that point too. And I'm not saying here or there for medication, but what it did do for our family was it gave us a glimpse of what having a calm family life can look like when things are settled down. The only problem that we had after about 9 months is he started developing some major side effects. And I remember going through that because his side effects were motor and vocal tics, as if he had Tourette's syndrome. I video recorded him one morning trying to eat his cereal, and he could barely get his spoon to his mouth because his tics were getting so bad. And the other side effect turned into depression, where one night he made a comment that he didn't want to go on the next day.
Mm.
And I just was devastated. I couldn't believe at the time he was 8
Wow.
that was coming out of his mouth at bedtime.
Mm.
So the next day I took him immediately to the doctor and said, we've got to do something. And she said, oh, I'm so glad you came in, because that's one of the side effects we look for. And he needs to immediately stop the medication.
Wow.
So I was just at a point where, the teachers are telling you things are bad, and you're overwhelmed with trying to find solutions to help your child, because it's just drags you down to be constantly looking for something to help your child manage day-to-day life. So we there is a lot of prayer. You have those desperate nights where you just say, God, what do I do now? What was working is not working anymore. So where do we go from here? And thankfully, he brought a new protocol into my life to where it was natural. And I showed it to the doctor and I said, well, is this an option? And she said, oh yeah, I don't have much faith in that because I see that all the time, but you can try it. It's not going to hurt him.
Okay.
So I was like, well, that's not comforting, but okay.
We'll try.
We'll go for it. So we went ahead and put him on this protocol, and it really, within a month, made a huge difference in him. And so we are on the other side to where we see all the benefits of it without the side effects.
Okay.
And I just have to remind myself daily, like, Lord, thank you so much that you stepped up and provided. Like, he heard me. And that's the thing I think I struggle with. And I'm going through one of your courses right now of recognizing where we don't totally believe God and who he says he is.
Yeah.
And that part of, am I bugging him when I ask for things? And for years and years of asking for this, that's the struggle I was dealing with, was, am I bugging God, asking repeatedly for something for my son?
Yeah. Well, and you are not alone in that feeling like you're bugging, or it's like an inconvenience for him. But that is the furthest thing from the truth. He so longs to be a part of the process, and how, like what you said at the very beginning, of looking in the rearview mirror and seeing how God led you throughout the way. And I'm very tempted to ask what the protocol is, but that's not even the point. The point is that he really led you, because when you went into the pediatrician or to the doctors and had this, like, hey, what do you think about this? And even somebody in authority was like, I don't have faith, but you went ahead and did it anyway, because you're like, well, I'm going to try it. And for a month, that's a long time in the everyday life of a high needs kiddo, to wait it out until you see some improvement. So I just love that. And I love that you were persistent and you fought for something to help your kiddo. That's huge. And we have a similar story where it's just continued. Okay, Lord, what's next? What's next? Because that worked for a while. And now we need to watch for something else. So I love hearing similar stories. And that's partially why I wanted you on here, is because there's such a need for moms to know they're not alone with high needs. There's special needs, and then there's high needs. And in both of those communities, it can feel like nobody else would understand the chaos in our home, or nobody else would understand that a simple shift in the schedule that was said was going to happen is now a big ordeal, a meltdown in our household. Or, simply, like for us, I'll give you an example. We have, so my son is, he gets real big separation anxiety, and he has since day one. And he's now 12. And so, you think, oh, this is going to go away. And we're still working on that. But a simple it's a girls' night for me to go out with friends or to a friend's house is not simple. I have to tell you 4 days in advance that I'm leaving and this is what's going to happen. And then it's a feeling it out the day of where are you at? Are you we're good, right? So and I share that story because I think, like I said, with a high needs kiddo, you can feel like I'm the only one that has to do that or something similar to that.
Right.
So I would love for you to speak to that as well.
Yeah, it really wears on you. And I can imagine in your situation that is it easier just to not have the date night?
Yep.
Because why put myself through a week's worth of a drama because you're preparing your heart and your mind for this event?
Yes.
I would say with our situation, I can remember I went to a parenting class when the boys were itty bitty, and it was at my church, and I thought it would be helpful. And I don't even remember what the course was about specifics, but I remember one class afterwards, I was talking to a mom, and we were in the height of, my oldest son also has high needs issues too, and his was aggression back then. And so I mentioned, I was unloading my heart to this mom I barely knew, and I said, he hit me today or yesterday, whatever it was. And she her jaw dropped, her eyes opened wide. She could not believe that. And she said, did you spank him? And I said, well, yeah, I don't even know if we're spanking at that point. But the point was that she had no clue what we were going through.
Oh,
and
yes.
She was astonished and couldn't relate. And I thought, oh my gosh, I'm such a bad parent.
Yes.
I let my son hit me, or go through this without dealing with it correctly. And it just made me realize, looking back now, how important it is to be around other women that understand what you're going through.
Yes.
That is, I would say, part of my self-care is to find moms that have the high needs or the special needs kids so they can encourage me along the way.
Yes.
Because when you feel like you're all alone and no one understands, then you're going to have that guilt, and that just kind of paralyzes you to think that I'm not good enough. So why keep pushing this?
Yeah.
Why keep working for my child?
Yeah.
I think that's just been a big one. And sometimes you have to do that online. Like I found you and have this really neat friendship going on, where we could do that in high needs groups, where we find a mom's group on Facebook. Yeah. And we can interact with other moms that are encouraging there. So I would highly recommend the moms that are listening to this, that if you don't have anyone in your life that has similar children issues that are going on, then find those women.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that advice of just, that is how we can care for our heart in this journey. And I want to say too, with these kiddos, they are such a gift. I would not be where I am today without my kiddo, and really processing and walking through, being aware of our whole heart in this journey is so important. And you touched on the self-care and finding community. In what other ways have you really cared for your own heart in this journey as a mom?
There's a couple ways. I think it's really important as a wife to find ways to connect with your husband Have those simple dates. I had someone once tell me, even if it's a date to go have ice cream,
Yeah.
even if you can't afford much, go do it.
Mm-hmm.
Because just having that conversation
Mm-hmm.
can, try not to talk about the kids, but you can just talk to
Right.
someone that is a safe place. So
That's
it's also
good.
another way of community, but you've got to keep your marriage strong
Mm-hmm.
and through all that. And probably the other way of self-care, physically, this past 6 months or so, I've found a way that is my go-to. Every Saturday, I have a quiet time
Nice.
in my spa bathroom.
Oh, nice.
Load up the bathtub, put in the essential oil, whatever bath bombs I have, and spend 30 minutes reading a book.
Oh.
Just quiet time, get away. My husband watches the boys during that time and gives me a break. So once a week, I get that.
Yes.
That little chance to reset my brain. And as an introvert, I need that time away.
Amen.
Not talk to anyone.
Oh, yes. And that's been tough, even with 2020 and now 21 of, kids are always home. So,
always there.
Oh, yeah, that's so good. I love that. And even with your spouse, something that really helped us when we were going through some therapy with our kiddo. I just remember the therapist being like, remember, you guys are a team. So it is team Chadwick, it's team, Riker. We're all on the same team. We're wanting the same goal. And just coming back to that place of when it's chaotic or one of us is going to handle, dysregulation or the other one needs to go calm down. And then even if it's 5 minutes of they're on duty and then tap out and then your turn and just being on the same page, because I know for us, I'll speak for myself. My husband can speak for him, but I would get like, okay, fine. I will be I'll sit with him for an hour. And then, and then all this bitterness comes up and all along he's like, I'm here to help. And
it's so hard to give up that control. Like,
right.
Okay, I am going to get you for help now.
Yes. And realizing like that team effort, it's not all up to me. It's not all up to him. It is a team collaboration and that can be so helpful when our hearts are worn thin or we've been with them all day and it's been a rough day. And really just stepping into that gift that the Lord has given us a husband and a wife, and we can do this together. And so, and I love the bath time. That's brilliant.
It's my new discovery. I've been my oldest is about to turn 12, and it's just taken me this long to figure that one out.
I know. Those little simple things. Who knew?
You never know.
That's right. It's like I'm going to stay in my car about 2 minutes longer than everybody else. Once they walk inside, I'm just going to sit here for a minute. Yep.
Yeah, just letting the quiet
yes.
Go around you in the car and just reset your brain then too. Because I heard that recently and I was like, I need to do that more often.
Yes.
That's really smart.
I know. It's so smart. It's really a brilliant thought. It's a little simple thing that you can do to reset. Well, Janelle, I would love to wrap up our conversation with you sharing what you do now, because I love hearing people's backstories of why they do what they do now. So can you share that?
Sure. I actually just left a full-time salary job at a church that I was working at. We took the job to be able to move closer to family.
Okay.
And didn't know how long that would last before we could make the move back home, because I had been working at home before that. And so now this January was the beginning of me working from home again. And that's a whole story in itself, how God led me to that decision, because that's a big leap of faith to leave the salary and go to freelancing.
Oh, yes, it is.
So I'm sure you understand.
I do.
So I that was a big step of faith, and but there was a passion alongside that, not just the flexibility to be able to be with family, because we actually are in the process of adopting and
cool.
a little girl, and
aww, congrats.
to be able to be more available for her.
Yeah.
With whatever she needs, therapy or just more one-on-one time. Yeah. So I wanted to be able to be home, and God made that happen. My business, I have two businesses. One is graphic design, and then the other is for mental wellness.
Okay. And
that was the main reason I got into that business, was because of my son. Okay. Seeing his results and being blown away by what a family can look like and what kind of peace they can have. Mm-hmm. That just got me super passionate about that protocol of products that he's on. Mm-hmm. It's a kid-friendly protocol, and just being able to share that, and also, as a referral process, bringing an income. But it just fuels my fire to be able to encourage these moms. Mm-hmm. Those are the best messages to get, is, hey, so-and-so is doing this. How can I help her, with this transition or whatever? And I can be able to relate and share what God has taught me over the years with my boys. And then, if they buy the products, well, that's great. But just being able to encourage them and use the gift that God gave me, that's the best job ever, is to be able to be in a position where you can finally use the gifts that God gave you.
Yeah. All right. So what are the products that you get to share?
Do you want the specific name of the?
Yeah, if you want to share it, we'll post the link below. Yep.
Okay. It's called Amari Global.
Okay.
And they have natural gut-brain axis protocol for adults and kids. So I gave it to my son, but I was also treating myself, because as moms, we need that stuff to bring down our stress levels and anxiety and even depression. So definitely I will share that link with you, but it's been a game changer. And of course, if anyone wanted to ask, I can answer their questions and guide them to see if it would be even a good fit for their family, or if it's a good product for their child.
Okay.
But I'm here to answer any questions.
Okay. Well, maybe we'll put a link to the product with your email or Facebook link, and that would be helpful for many people, because I know going back to that self-care and high needs, that cortisol level is something fierce, and we are always having to keep it in check, because you're always in fight flight. It feels that way, like it's more abundant in our types of families because of the intensity, and how important it is to take care of your gut, because that is a connection, the gut and the brain.
Absolutely. And for both the parents and the kid, that cortisol can wreak havoc on their health.
Oh, for sure.
In all weird ways.
Yes, so true.
All connected.
Yes. Well, thank you so much, Janelle, for coming on Wholistic Hearts. I appreciate it. I pray that, there's a mom out there that has felt alone, that now she has this sense of like, okay, I'm not alone, and I'm going to reach out. Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much.
Sure.
Thanks for listening to Wholistic Hearts. As always, leave a review and don't forget to subscribe to the podcast. And if you'd like to find out more about my mom and all the things she is writing about, go to www.kristenfieldschadwick.com.